ToughMac Championship takes on a new look at this time of the year with the Formula 2 invasion from the British series. In ways it's an uneasy marriage, however, as the Stena Ulster Rally and the Manx International, which follows, do not cater for the modified cars that are so popular in Ireland.
We'll be back here.
The Group A supercars can of course join in, but only Bertie Fisher's Impreza and Eamon Boland's Escort Cosworth take on the manufacturer's Formula 2 cars on the Ulster lanes.
British champion Alistair McRae, having only his second outing in the Formula 2 Volkswagen, starts at number 1. At 2, it's the man most likely to win this year's British Series, Wyndaf Evans in the Formula 2 Ford RS 2000. The excitement really mounts at 4 with Bertie Fisher in the ToughMac Subaru out to break all records. This event could bring the Fermanagh man a record-breaking 4th Ulster win, the greatest number of tarmac wins ever recorded by an Irishman, and an all-time record tally of 4 tarmac championships. Eamon Boland, who's lying 5th in the tarmac series, sets out on his quest for more points. And the Renaults, driven by Robbie Head and ELAN, are turning many heads. It's an enormous credit to the 65 visiting crews that there hasn't been one cry-off due to the recent trouble. And they haven't just come from England, Wales, Scotland and the Isle of Man. There are 5 crews from Finland, 1 from Norway, France, Belgium, Switzerland and even as far afield as Turkey. And Erkan Kazaz has brought his own fan club with him. As David Higgins departs, we realise that the Irish interest doesn't end with Fisher and Boland. Kenny McKinstry's at number 13 in his Escort, and there's an almighty Group N battle in prospect for Trevor Cathers.
Trevor, we've got used to it being old Subaru recently in Ireland in Group N, but there's quite a lot of opposition here this week.
Yeah, there's these guys from Finland and the Lancers and a guy from England in a Proton, and I don't know what kind of competition to be on tarmac.
That guy is the experienced David Mann, debuting the Proton on Irish soil.
The Friday stages are contained in a compact area between Banbridge and Newry, and the compact Renault MEGANE in Robbie Head's hands is no escargot. It's fastest on the first test. Those days of testing and turmoil for the Terry Harriman run team look like they are at last paying off. Renault always knew that their best chance would come on tarmac, and after the first stage, Robbie is 10 seconds up on his closest Group A rival. And to add to Renault's joie de vivre, an ORIELLE, nicknamed O'Reilly in this neck of the woods, makes it a mega opener with second fastest time on the privilege insurance stage. Kenny McKinstry is rallying around his own hometown, so you can expect him to be quick. He's initially 3rd but drops to 6th by stage 3. Bertie has taken a little time to settle in, but over stages 2 and 3, he clips the Renaults back to 15 seconds to take the lead going into Newry. The state-of-the-art Formula 2 car has still a bit to go to match the all-wheel drive Group A machine, and a long way to go to match the spectacle. Our other Group A friend is certainly providing plenty of spectacle. Eamon Boland and Damon Morrissey are seen more frequently in internationals these days in the Hertz Escort, and their pace is increasing with their experience. We will therefore allow them the odd little error, as this is their first Ulster. But 2 overshoots in 3 stages. Steady up, Eamon. Wyndaf is behaving impeccably, exactly what he should be doing to wrap up the British title in the Gordon Spooner Escort. Ulster has always been good to the Welsh professional. He's had an outright win here, a Group N win, and now he hopes to add a Formula 2 to his Northern Ireland tally. But everything is new to the Scottish Rally winner, Harry Rowan-Para. The Finn is discovering Ireland, tarmac rallying, Formula 2 and the sequential gear change in his Escort. We were on stage 2 and saw your frustration of selecting gear.
Yeah, Harry did have a problem to get the reverse on, and he tried to lift this, but the reverse didn't go on, and that's why we have to ask spectators to help us.
That's one of the problems with these sequential boxes. How do they actually work?
Well, it's just the free point is between first and second gear, or with between reverse and second gear, and it just if you want to go further on, you just draw it like that.
And can you handbrake these cars?
Yes, no problem.
That's what you should have done.
Okay. The problem on that place was because it was so dirty. We tried that, but then the front started to move, and that's why we didn't have enough speed in there.
Bad for Harry, but disaster for the Volkswagen team. Alistair McRae makes it to the second stage, only to retire before the end of the test. And Tapio Laukkanen has already gone, transmission again. The other British Championship contender hasn't even got that far.
Well, Mark, it was all going so well right up to the starting line. And then what happened?
Well, we're looking forward to the tarmac. It's the first round we've done in the Nissan, and unfortunately it was about 3 miles into the first stage, on a down change, bump, nothing suddenly seemed to happen with the engine. We actually missed a gear, and I think the engines actually broke the timing chain, so that was it, unfortunately. It's
a big disappointment. Obviously you must have done a pretty good recce on the route.
Yeah, we worked very hard for this one. I mean, it's our first tarmac round. We did a good recce. We've done about 4 days testing as well. You know, the car felt fantastic and it was looking quite good at the time, but it always does till things go wrong.
Group N is being led by David Mann's Proton, not one of the Subarus. The Proton, incidentally, is the exact clone of the Mitsubishi Lancer, so it's not surprising that it is quick. But it has certainly surprised reigning champion Trevor Cathers, who is a second down after 3 stages. Newry with 6 stages up, but it's only the start of the 26-hour adventure.
Really, I found it a bit difficult just to settle into the first stage, Pam, and we had an overshoot, and then we had a spin, and we probably lost, 15 or 20 seconds messing around, but we're settling in now, and we're back in front.
The 2 Renault Meganes are making quite an impression in the early stages of the Stena Ulster Rally. The one behind is driven by Robbie Head, and this by Alan O'Reilly, who we will remember from last year. But the problem is, when you're interviewing these gentlemen, if my French is even worse than his English, things can be a little bit difficult. You were spectacular with the Renault Clio last year. Now the Megane, obviously it's a big improvement again.
C'est la même chose avec la Renault Clio ou c'est différent? Non, the Megane c'est no spectacle because the time no good.
You're unhappy?
Il demande si tu es content. Yes. The Megane, the car fantastic. Yes, Megane very good. Yes. If you make the spectacle, you lose the time.
Right.
The car is completely different for to drive. No spectacle, it's best time.
I think I understand that. Anyway, it's time to get out of here.
It's all regulations and restrictions in rallying these days, but we're out on stage 4 on the run back to Belfast. Bertie Fisher and Rory Kennedy, as expected, are extending their lead. On this stage, they're 5 seconds quicker than the Renault. Stage 5, and they extend it by another 4 seconds. And they finish off the day with another fastest time, 10 seconds up on Robbie Head. You could certainly say the ToughMac car is a jump ahead of the opposition.
Yes.
Let's look at that again. By the end of the day, they have a useful but not yet comfortable lead over the Renault. Now watch the sequential change on the MEGANE. It's just as well that it's easy, as Robbie has sustained an injured wrist while racing last weekend at Knockhill. The MEGANE is a Formula 2 kit car. That's a modified Formula 2 car which will be eligible for the British Series in 1997. So the French manufacturer is here to get ahead of the pack when the new regulations come into force. And yes, these little rockets have already acquired nicknames. Terry Harriman calls them Megantic, while Sidney Meek, Bertie's team chief, prefers to call them migraines. ELAN ORIELLE, drafted back into the British Renault team at the last minute, shadows Big Robbie, but he's always a few seconds slower, sometimes as much as 5 seconds compared to the Scot. Eamon Boland is in 4th place, but not making an impression on the MEGANEs. While Kenny is disgusted. The local hero has lost the power steering on his home stages. Still, he's 6th, and what a jump. Trevor Cathers has begun his Group N counter-attack, despite complaining of a down-on-power engine. Still, the Subaru driver gives us one of the biggest jumps of the day. Enjoy the Stage 5 replay. David Mann is under pressure now. He loses 6 seconds to Cathers on Stage 4. Gains back 3 on Stage 5, but ends the day trailing the local man by 5 seconds in Group N. Harkey is in 3rd place in the showroom category with his Mitsubishi. And Robin Phillips heads the similar Subaru driven by joint Tarmac Group N Championship leader Sean Campbell. Kieran McAnallen is out for his annual romp in the Group N ToughMac entry. David Higgins leads Class 6, but his teammate provides most of the action. Julian Reynolds seems bent on self-destruction. But Julian's little troubles pale into insignificance compared to what's ahead. Mika Korhonen frightens our cameraman with his forestry-style fishtailing. But the Finn is just warming up for his accident. Little does he know he'll play a significant role in the Doyle brothers' fate. We're on Stage 5, due south of Banbridge, and the little Honda is singing along nicely as the Portadown pair claw back some of the time loss caused by a puncture. But Korhonen has been off the road ahead.
The 4 right, Katie.
The fence had been broken by car 11, and Rory is extremely lucky that he isn't skewered by that rail. His cool is incredible. Now all that matters is to get back into the rally.
Out the gate, out the gate, out the gate, out the gate, out the gate. Keep going. Left. 4 right, 80. Left with the turn, square left.
Vision is now the problem. Rory has his own ideas of how to deal with that.
Hold on, hold on. Close your eyes. No, that doesn't work. Works for you, can't see anything. Square left, 150.
They get rid of the screen by stage 6, and in Lisburn we talked to Rory about his horrifying experience.
Just trying a little bit too hard in the square rights. There was a Mitsubishi already off before us and had taken out all the fencing and the posts, and we came through and hit the same sort of fencing, but one of the wooden posts actually came through the windscreen and into the area, and we spun around the field for a while, but got her out eventually. We lost quite a lot of time because we couldn't see out of the rest of the windscreen at all, and dropped about 2 minutes because 2 other cars passed us on the stage. So
that sounds pretty frightening though, that I have this post come through the thing.
To be honest, I had my head down. I didn't even know it was in until I had my head up and I seen the post sitting in between us. But we just pushed it out and away we went. You know, we didn't have time to think about it, I suppose.
The Doyles are lucky to be able to resume their journey at dawn, when up front Fisher will have to keep an eye on his mirror for the Renault Renaissance.
Dawn in Dungannon, and we are once again suffering from the traditional torture meted out by the Northern Ireland Motor Club on the second day of the Stena Line Ulster Rally. The early morning stages have been Bertie's downfall in the past, so he's naturally apprehensive.
Well, obviously they need to be treated with a lot of respect, as I very well know from other years, so we're going to go out and try and drive a good, quick, steady pace. We don't want to try and do anything silly in there and, you know, get around those first few stages, because they always are very critical to the result of this rally, you know.
Oh, Bertie, what has happened to that nice steady pace? The Impreza has been backwards into a ditch and the rear end is not a pretty sight. Fortunately for Fisher, it looks worse than it is, and Bertie still has the fastest time on that stage. But it's not mega in MEGANE land either. Head is still second, but O'Reilly is about to disappear. ELAN is initially quicker than Robbie in the dark, but he won't emerge from stage 8. The Frenchman goes off the road and hits a tree, and the Renault team are now reduced to just one challenger. This moves Eamon Boland up to third. And Gwyndaf Evans is now fourth, but he's also a worrying man, as he has an oil leak. And here's another in trouble, Kenny McKinstry. This time a heavy landing has cracked the cross member, and the Craig salvage car is unlikely to make the finish. Whoa, steady, Trevor. You can see that Cathers is under pressure. But the Proton Mitsubishi runners are having brake problems. Look at Harkey's car. The discs are actually on fire. In Dungannon, we find the mangled MEGANE.
It's sad that we've lost ELAN, because he was going very, very well, and one of those things, but...
Do you know what happened there?
They just went off, simple as that. I think maybe going a bit too quick, maybe the note was a fraction slow, but I've seen it on the video and it wasn't too bad.
Of course, we know that Fisher's been off too, and that must have thought you were nearly in the lead of the rally at that stage.
Yes, it was looking promising, and as he said himself, at his age it's easier to make mistakes. And don't I know it?
Talking of age, the Stena Line Ulster Rally also incorporates a category for historic cars. Old they may be, pre-1976 to be exact, but slow they're not.
3, 2, 1, go! 180 into flat right.
Our camera is being carried by Drew Wylie and Neil Ewing in their Lotus ELAN, the only historic rally car that can live with the Porsches on these stages.
Into left mud. Double caution, key right, turn square right. And square left. Into square right, 60. Double caution, square left, square right at house. and medium left, 60.
John Keatley and Maurice Beckett initially lead the Porsche parade ahead of Donegal winner Desi Nutt. But Drew is keeping the little Elan in touch in third place. By the end of the day, Desi, with co-driver Elkin Robinson, has moved ahead after Keatley hits problems.
Right to crest bump, 80. 80.
Now it's Wylie's turn to hit trouble.
Fast medium right into medium left. 100.
Stuck in third gear.
Is it? Okay.
The Porsche pendulum of fate swings again in Keatley's favour when Nutt hits electrical problems on day 2. And Michael Stevenson inherits third, as he did in Donegal. Meanwhile, Drew is playing with the Porsches.
Key right, square left, don't touch. 40. 2. Crest bump into square right at 3. And square left. And fast medium right.
John Keatley and Maurice Beckett take another historic win, which moves them ahead in the Tarmac Championship. While Drew and Neil finally run out of gears.
Square right over jump. 60. Medium left, 40. That's it.
Two further top stories unfold in the main rally on the way back to Belfast. First, there is the sad demise of Group N frontrunners David Mann and Mike Kidd, who crash out heavily on stage 15. Fortunately, the injuries are restricted to a broken arm. Eamon Boland and Damon Morrissey were in a comfortable third place when a drive shaft let go on the second last stage. Cruel luck indeed for the Wexford driver. The heroic Doyles, however, managed to make it home in 19th place in the NIIB Honda and even managed to stop and help the stricken Mann car along the way. The Simonite sisters are the top female crew in an excellent 12th place. And our Turkish visitors had something to cheer about as Erkan made it home in 11th.
Despite a thin Irish entry, there are excellent results for our lads with 5 drivers in the top 10. Sean Campbell is 10th, Robin Phillips 8th. Trevor Cathers and Gordon Noble a fabulous 5th, despite last-minute gearbox problems. They now once again lead both the Tarmac and the British Group N Championships. Perseverance paid off for the McKinstry team, who managed to bring their broken motor home in 4th place after yet another difficult Ulster Rally. Wyndham Evans and Howard Davis are the new British Mobil 1 Rally champions. They end up in 3rd place overall. And Robbie Head and Brian Thomas bring much joy to the Renault camp with 2nd place. The Megane looks and sounds magnificent. The front-wheel drive will never produce the spectacle that we've become accustomed to on our tarmac stages.
And so we salute Bertie Fisher and Rory Kennedy. Rory now has sat with Bertie for 15 triumphs, and Bertie, with his 4th Ulster win, becomes the most winning Irish rally driver of all time. His 17 ToughMac Championship wins surpasses Billy Coleman and equals Jimmy McRae. And now we think there is another record. He has become the only person to win the ToughMac Championship 4 times. There's just one more thing to do, and that is to win in the Isle of Man. Bertie, we know it's your 4th win, but we're trying to work out, is it your 4th ToughMac Championship?
Yeah, it's the 4th ToughMac Championship, apparently 2 for them, because James Cullen could equal us on points if he won the next 2 events and we didn't score, but we would win on the tie-break.
Fabulous performance for the whole weekend. A bit slow at the start, but when we got going, we were definitely hard to catch.
16th. A more emphatic victory you could not imagine.